thank you everyone for taking the time to join us. And this is quite an exciting time for me and the product team at LiveTiles, because really what we're unveiling today, and as Carl said, will be public from next week, is really the next major phase in our journey at LiveTiles that started 5 years ago, and has been a lot of work over the past few years of joining forces with some new technology and people in the companies we've joined with, such as Hyperfish, Wisdom, and Cycle. Also, a lot of the organic R&D work that's gone in, and really now starting to pull it together and provide a very, very significant suite of capabilities that we believe really is working towards the future of work rather than just addressing the needs of yesterday. And just to reiterate what Carl and Peter said, is the last 3 to 4 months has just been one of the craziest times in my career, in technology and generally. And I can imagine your own organizations, a lot of the stuff that you thought you'd be doing suddenly changed or sped up. I've been working with customers that had 3-year programs of work that they then started to deploy in 2 weeks, and just unheard of acceleration of outcomes. And we believe that sets up a very exciting future for when the world does start to get some normality back, in that there's a lot less excuses in organizations now to not provide a better set of capabilities, a better experience to their workforce, particularly in the digital realm. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today, I've only got about 30 minutes, so I'm going to share with you all the things that we currently have as capabilities in the 4 products that Carl's just introduced to you. I'll talk to a lot of the capabilities many of you will be familiar with for particular parts of the product suite, but also some of the things you may not be. And I'm also going to share with you the things that we're both actively working on now, as well as some of the stuff that we're thinking about and concepting right now. And I just want to be very clear that a lot of the early stage stuff we do actually look for customers to interact with us at a very early level. So if you're a type of customer who enjoys getting ahead of the curve, looking at new things that maybe potentially won't work out, then please reach out to me, because we're always looking for our customers who are prepared to go on that journey with us. If you're not, that's cool. We'll be sharing with you a lot more insights into our roadmap moving forward, and I'll touch on that at the end. So part of the framing of how we're thinking about what we're doing is this quote, and I won't steal the person's thunder who said this. I think it's revealed a little later on in the session, but we're in a meeting room, and this is prior to COVID. It was actually before we ran a similar, much smaller event to this, but with some of our Asia Pacific customers. And this person just said this to me: it's not about trying to get people to adopt your intranet or digital workplace anymore. It's about the solution adopting your people. And I sort of stopped and went, geez, that's a very good way to sum up all the stuff that we've been talking about doing. And this idea that an intranet or the portal or the digital workplace or the intelligent intranet, whatever label is put on it, this concept of you've got to drive all your audience to that asset, and that's where they're going to get all their stuff from and get their work done. We haven't really believed in that for quite a while. And I think if you said it in your organization, we're only going to do our website for our external digital presence, you'd probably be laughed out of the room, because of course you just can't do it. It's so fragmented. There are so many channels you need to consider. And the workplaces basically become the same. If you think about all the places that you spend in your own day, the applications you jump between. So how do we sort of flip it on its head and say, well, it's not about adopting your intranet, it's about your intranet adopting your people and getting to them. And that may still be through the homepage in a browser, but it's these days more and more through other tools, whether it be Teams, whether it be Slack, whether it be various line of business systems. So that was a sort of a quote, I think, that sums up a lot of the thinking. And it really is then driven by what we refer to as our product principles. So 4 key things that that we like to think drives the type of products we build today and will build into the future, and how we think about the types of features that we want to bring to our customer base to support their needs. So the first one relates to that adopting your people. So go to where the users are. And in particular, we think one of the big issues to be solved in workplace technology is context switching. So the constant change of applications, or receiving notifications from systems that are dumb, and all they provide is a link to the system that you then log into and go and work out what it is you need to do. So how can we not only be where the users are, but make it so it's a meaningful interaction that doesn't waste their time and allows them to get on with the more important stuff in their day, or to get the important stuff done as quickly as possible. And that means hiding the complexity. And the number of applications in use in organizations is not, funnily enough, decreasing. The ability to move between different applications because of cloud and SaaS platforms is only increasing. And in fact, due to COVID, possibly going to accelerate significantly. You know, the ability to move a CRM system is so much faster and less complex than it was even 5 years ago, let alone 10. So that how do we hide that complexity where applications may come and go, they may change, and make it as easy as possible for people to get what they need. Be intelligent and guide or automate user journeys. Now, we didn't say automate users. One of the things you won't see LiveTiles do is do targeted AI, as it's referred to, where we look to replace people's jobs. It's not in our DNA. It's not what we think AI is best for. It definitely has those purposes, but for us, it's about the everyday use of AI, about how can we stop you doing those 4 steps to success to do something and make it 1 step, for example. And you're going to see us doing a lot of that sort of stuff and baking that into the product experiences we deliver. And finally, delivering unforgettable experiences. And it doesn't just mean beautiful UI, but it means cohesive experience. It means simplifying that complex experience. And it's also, I think, about making sure that those interactions or those touch points when a user needs to use something LiveTiles technology is delivering is actually meaningful, and, to be honest, get shit done, as Pete referred to in our value, as opposed to just providing yet more information, more notification overload, and asking him to switch context more times. So we think these principles are worth sharing with you, because it really does underpin how we try every day to think about the things we do. So Carl's already stole my thunder on this. So we have 4 products moving forward. That does not mean, if you're a LiveTiles design customer today, that's going away, and I'll talk to that very short. It does not mean if you've got your internet built on top of the Wisdom platform that's going away. It does not mean that if a condensed customer, it's going away. It does not mean if you're a Hyperfish customer, it's going away. It's the way that we are pulling our various product capabilities together, simplifying how we both market, but also the brand proposition around them, but also importantly from its changing the way we think about our product structure and how we need to think about the way these things interact together. And I'll go into a bit more detail. So just to be very clear, you will see us referring to LiveTiles Intranet, LiveTiles Everywhere, LiveTiles Reach, and LiveTiles Quantum. And I'll go into the detail of those now. So LiveTiles Intranet. So this is what we're known for by probably 90 plus, if not more % of the audience of today. And it's where we started with our original page design product, of which we still have many, many, many customers around the world doing some fantastic stuff with. It's what Wisdom was known for with their enterprise intranet capabilities. And it's what Cycle's been known for with their MatchPoint products as well. So we're very well suited to delivering intranets. However, what we realized a while ago as LiveTiles was that there wasn't a one size fits all, and we didn't want to put a customer in the box. And you'll see a lot of, out of the box intranet propositions. And to be frank, I'm yet to see one that really does work. And so what we've been doing is pulling together what we consider the best of breed for the different types of approaches to delivering this thing called an intranet. And really it boils down to, what sort of intranet, what features in that intranet are needed for your organization's needs, not the needs inferred to you by a boilerplate, templated type solution that is not taking into account the nuance of your organization, how it might perceive and need an intranet to work. So we're bringing together under the LiveTiles intranet product all of the capabilities of what was Wisdom, what was our Page Designer product, and what is MatchPoint Hub. And that approach was recognised recently in the Forrester Way for intranet platforms. When we presented to Forrester as part of that very onerous process, we didn't just show Wisdom. We showed an end-to-end day in the life of proposition that touched on everything I'm talking about today. And the feedback we got and the recognition by being included in that report and being rated very highly was that we were going beyond just the expected feature set of content management and publishing, etc. So what are the types of things today that delivers for you? So if we think about enterprise grade, so this is, you're an organization of particular complexity or size or scale, or you might just have a need for what we regard as enterprise grade intranet capabilities. You're probably looking to put this on top of SharePoint. I know a lot of you out there, in fact, most of you would be SharePoint customers. What are the key things we're doing beyond what you could do by just having SharePoint, particularly with, you know, some of the very good stuff Microsoft's been doing with Modern? So the first big one is around centralized governance and management, and being able to do that across a very complex SharePoint environment. So things like centralizing a bunch of the setup for how you do this and pushing that out across potentially thousands and thousands of site collection. And as any of you who work with SharePoint know, you know, wasn't that long ago where limiting your site collection architecture was best practice, and now they're everywhere, and particularly gets worse when you look at your Teams deployments. So how can we provide that centralized capability around some key things such as language translation, policies and procedures is a big one, which I'll touch on shortly, and make that so it's centralized, it's scalable, and it's governed. That then applies to things like some of the functionality that appears on the intranet. So, you know, everything from, we have people using modules around birthdays. Once again, it's not about that single web part on that single homepage. It's about, well, where can we have those things appear and how can we centrally manage and control that, right through to how you manage site and workspaces provisioning, how you think about your navigation, your mega menu, all of those types of features. So it's all around being scalable to enterprise needs and delivering through a platform such as SharePoint to get it to your users. I mentioned policies and procedures. So what you're seeing here is our centralized enterprise policies and procedures capability. Once again, SharePoint can manage policy procedures, but not at enterprise scale and not with some of the features that nearly every customer I've ever dealt with requires. So things like must reads, things like tracking, things like author alerts on review cycles, all that type of stuff is all handled centrally. And it's appearing here in the Power Panel, which I'll talk about shortly, on an intranet, on a home page, but it could equally appear on a dedicated procedures and guidelines content owners dashboard, or delivered from the same platform, or delivered through SharePoint, but providing that centralized governance and oversight on these very, very important capabilities. Navigation is a big one, of course, and you know, that ability, whether it's a mega menus you fancy, quick links, whatever it may be, being able to once again do that in one spot and have it just pushed out to potentially many, 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 many different touch points where it appears, so you can have consistency and have centralized management. So we're really talking here about enterprise grade, building an enterprise grade intranet, and that is what Wisdom's heritage has been and what we have customers of all shapes and sizes and industries doing today, and that isn't going to change. It is a strategic part of our LiveTiles intranet product moving forward. We will continue to invest in it, and I'll share a little bit about those investments coming up, but that core use case of I need to build an intranet, I need to be able to scale it, and I need all this capability, and I need to be able to centrally manage it so it doesn't get out of hand on me, is what that's really gonna address for you. But then there's organizations, and even the same organization as those first ones. And we have some customers who are already doing this today, where there's some needs that don't quite fit with the approach that particularly SharePoint's taken. So our LiveTiles design capability, or the page designer as it's been known for quite a while, that ability to do very flexible branding, to create page experiences like this, which are nigh on impossible with standard modern, to be able to do dashboards, different styles of portals, it might be an extranet scenario, for example, is a critical piece of the strategy moving forward as well. And I'll be the first to completely agree that Microsoft's made some great strides on the experience of SharePoint through modern, but it is still constrained and it is still limited in where you can take it. And we have customers, whether it be their brand aesthetic they want to apply, whether it be as simple as the layout they want to do, they want to go beyond that. And so the design capabilities in our intranet product are still a strategically important part of our capability set. So if you are a LiveTiles design customer, this isn't going to change. All that's going to happen is it's going to become more possible to apply that to the enterprise intranet and other various pieces of our product platform. The other thing I want to talk about is modern SharePoint, because I don't think we've done a great job of educating and informing and sharing with you what is actually possible today. So it wasn't that long ago, late last year, we released V5 of the page design product. And then we more recently, at the start of the year, and COVID definitely took the wind out of the sail on some launch activities we were thinking about doing, we released our V5 for modern. So just to explain what they're about, you can take our design capabilities and use it alongside modern. So that would be building out a LiveTiles page and including, for example, SPFX web parts, okay? And it can coexist with standard modern SharePoint pages quite happily. And you might do that like a university customer here in Australia who's standardizing on modern for their corporate intranet, but is building out very customized and branded experiences for certain parts of their intranet, particularly when it comes to student interaction. So it's really that sort of marketing-led style of need, or where you simply can't achieve it readily with the layout options provided to you with modern. You can also do it within modern. And we've got some customers doing some interesting stuff here where you can have a modern page and actually use our design capability to design a section of it. And it works by actually, you're designing a page that is then displayed through a SPFX web part and is included on a standard modern page. Why might you want to do that? Think about a section of a page, such as the middle part of this screenshot I've got here, or maybe it's your banner at the top of it, or maybe it's your footer. It could be any of those things where that ability to have a much more free-form design experience becomes a pretty compelling proposition. And we do have some customers doing some really interesting stuff in that area. And of course, there is standalone. We still have many customers who haven't committed to modern or don't wish to. They can use our technology to build their entire intranet experience on. We also have the ability for this capability to be delivered without any SharePoint through our cloud platform. And we have a very large athletics retail company who their entire experience enterprise-wide across many, many sites around the world is actually delivered through that cloud, and integrating a document management system, which is also in the cloud. And that's how they're delivering effectively what has become their intranet as well. So the key message here is, you know, being able to deliver that intranet that works where aesthetic, brand, design, flexible layout options are important to you, that product and capability is still there. And finally, something that's new to probably many of you, I believe we do have some customers of Cycle's MatchPoint product, and hello to you, is what about if your intranet or part of your intranet is more of an aggregation type need? And we have customers who have come to us in the past and gone, look, I've got my big enterprise top-down thing going on for corporate communications, etc., but I need an area where I can just pull stuff together for users really quick. And that's what has previously been known as MatchPoint Hub does exceptionally well. It is fast, you're up and running very quickly, and by default, it can help you pull together all sorts of content, data, and information and tasks from the Microsoft 365 suite. and it's also extendable to do other stuff. And that's just an example of here. It also does some very neat things under the hood about how it abstracts content types for, say, news, and then in that one news banner, you can be aggregating information from, say, a LiveTiles Reach platform. You could be aggregating information, news coming from standard SharePoint areas, as well as RSS feeds. But to the UI, it's just news, and it treats it the same way. So, just to be very, very clear, our LiveTiles intranet product is the merging and availability of all these approaches and capabilities to delivering intranets. It's not to say one is right, one is wrong. It's to say an intranet is a complex thing, and different organizations have many different needs. And as LiveTiles, we believe that we need to help you address those different needs rather than try to box you into a certain approach. So what's to come? Well, there's already a hell of a lot there, more than any other vendor I've come across, and Forrester agreed with us on that. But we're continuing to invest in the evolution of these features. So if you're a LiveTiles Design customer, a Wisdom customer, or a MatchPoint Hub customer, you will see continued investment into the evolution of their feature set. But also importantly, you'll start to see the sharing of capabilities between these. So for example, I'll jump to the third dot point here about metadata automation. MatchPoint Hub has a very, very strong capability around how you can deal with metadata and how you can use your taxonomy term stores from SharePoint, as well as rules-based capabilities to really automate the capture of metadata, whether that be around or just about any piece of content that you might wish to manage. It so happens that that service is not tied into a MatchPoint Hub solution. So we're already looking at how we bring that into advanced metadata capture for things like Notice Board, which we know is a critical piece of functionality for Wisdom customers out there, and one of the most used modules on an intranet that's been deployed on top of Wisdom. So you can expect to see more of that coming into the fold. You can expect to see, for the Wisdom customers out there, ongoing enhancements to the Notice Board, because we do hear you on how important a feature it is, and some of the stuff you'd like to see it do around filtering, tagging, searching, etc. So I'd expect to see those coming. Also, out of our MatchPoint suite is a governance dashboard around site and content permission and lifecycle management within SharePoint Modern. Once again, it's an independent capability that we'll be able to use regardless of whether you want to go an aggregation style intranet with MatchPoint, a highly designed intranet with LiveTiles design, or an enterprise grade intranet with Wisdom. By going the LiveTiles intranet product, you'll be able to use that sort of provisioning capability regardless of which one you use, or if you're using all three, in fact. And I'm looking forward to working with customers who do see a need for these approaches within their single intranet. I can see how we would use it, and we're only a small organization. And finally, as I get to at the end, the evolving smarts from our LiveTiles Quantum. You'll start to see the experiences delivered on the LiveTiles intranet product just become smarter, and new capabilities becoming available to you. So that's the LiveTiles intranet. Let's now talk about LiveTiles Everywhere. And so for Wisdom customers out there, this should hopefully be very exciting for you, because this is the evolution of Power Panel, which has been a really, really good module within the Wisdom capability for quite a while now. And we're very excited by what it does and the vision for it. So as Carl alluded to, LiveTiles Everywhere is about reaching your users where they are and providing them with the stuff they need. And so we're taking Power Panel and we're decoupling it from only being part of a Wisdom, what was a Wisdom intranet, and we're going to make it available for all sorts of applications and user experiences. The key point to this is being able to bring things to your users that they can actually get value out of, whether that be news, which is classically what we see is Power Panel has been used for things like catalog of quick links, news, that type of stuff. But it's entirely a flexible capability. It could be used for just about anything. So being able to provide you with templated solutions, be able to provide you with the ability to create those a lot faster, And the end result is for your users, one click away, they could access a wealth of content, information, data, and interaction without having to necessarily switch modes. And the best example of this we have right now is it is available today in Teams. It can be made available to your users as a pinned app down the left-hand side of Teams. It can also be made available as a tab app if you're familiar with those. And once again, you can then think about, well, which panels should I create here? You can target those to different groups and audiences, and then give your users one click away from within Teams to a wealth of information and content and data without them having to leave that Teams experience. Now, one of the questions I've been asked the most in the last few months with the acceleration of Teams adoption globally from customers is Teams going to kill the intranet? And I answer that in that no, but the intranet needs to be finding its way into Teams to get engagement with your users, because that is where they're doing their work in a lot of organizations, even if it's only spending their day in Teams because that's where all their video meetings are. If you can get your stuff to them in there, you're going to sustain or even possibly increase the engagement of your intranet. And finally, the Power Panel can also be available on the LiveTiles intranet. So that same experience can be available through that web-based intranet experience. It can be available in Teams. And where are we going with this? So we are in the midst of building out a cloud service to simplify the deployment of this for customers who don't have a full Wisdom installation in place. So we are in the midst of starting to look for early adopter and beta customers for this. So if you are interested in this and you haven't deployed Wisdom Power Panel into your organization already, please let me know, particularly if you're in Europe, because this is being built out of our Danish team. Very keen to get some people using it. We're already concepting and playing with ideas around, okay, what does this look like for Outlook client? What does this look like in some sort of smart browser extension that can be aware that you're on Salesforce, for example, or you're a marketing person using Marketo? And what will it look like on a dedicated mobile experience? Or in fact, is it somehow else integrated into the mobile experience? So they're all things we're already concepting and looking at. So you can expect to see, I won't commit to all of those or those particular things, but those types of things are on the way. You can expect to see that design capability I referred to before for building out intranet pages. You can start to expect to see that coming into building out these Power Panels or these panels for LiveTiles everywhere. Why is that cool? It allows you to have brand. It allows you to have extreme flexibility in how you lay out, and allows you to leverage the increasing set of what we call tiles but components that enable you to make those experiences rich, integrate data from other systems, etc. So expect to see that coming down the pipe. And the other big thing I'm very excited about, and it relates to our Quantum platform, is expect it to start to get smarter. Expect it to start to prioritize certain information, perhaps even certain panels in their entirety to users based on usage patterns, based on the context they're currently in. So the example I like to use internally is, let's, for example, say we're delivering it through some sort of browser extension and you're on Salesforce, then the information it might prioritize to you may not be the Salesforce data because you're already on Salesforce. It may be some information coming out of your document management system related to proposals, or say potentially the marketing system relating to upcoming events or marketing collateral, etc. So that's definitely part of where we see all this going. So LiveTiles Reach, Carl referred to, we've seen phenomenal uptake and interest in this with COVID, because I think what COVID did for a lot of organisations, particularly public sector, is it highlighted how bad they were at communicating. I had one customer in particular who we first started talking about LiveTiles Reach, and the head of HR said to me, oh no, look, we're just going to email will do us. And then a week later, there was a significant issue came up in their organisation where email failed them very, very badly. So they're about to start rolling this out. And they're a health organisation. They're starting with their ambulance and paramedic staff, who are obviously a key, being very busy and a key part of the health system. So why are these customers showing interest in this? LiveTiles Reach is lightweight. You are up and running very, very quickly. It is a SaaS-based platform. There is an on-premise version in the works for customers, but its core propositions around you are up and running very, very quickly. It can provide you with the ability to publish very rich news capabilities. You can also publish events to your people. It has a structured pages concept as well as a people directory. You don't have to turn all of those on, so you can use it just as a news platform, but you can also take advantage of those other capabilities as well. It's really been around, traditionally it's been around the frontline workforce, the workers who often miss out on licensing for collaboration products, or they might be shared login, that type of thing. It is mobile first, so the mobile experience is very, very rich, but it's also now in Teams. We've just finished this off and launched it. So I use this every single day in my Teams experience, and I'll be honest, I didn't read corporate news on our intranet very often, even in our own organisation. So it can be there once again as part of the Teams experience, one click away. It's got a bot that will alert you and notify you of things that have been published. And then you're one click away to get into news. And not only do you have the rich reading experience in Teams, you also have the content authoring and content management and publishing side. So, you know, I was talking to a corporate comms person the other week where we talked about they've come out of a meeting in Teams. They've just been told they must get a message out from the CEO now, and they can literally be one click away and drafting that message and going through the publishing process and getting it out to their people. So a very, very cool experience and tightly integrated into the Teams one. So where are we going with Reach? And there's an example of a mobile story. One-to-one and group Q&A capabilities. This has been customer led from existing users of the condensed system. So, you know, moderated chat, ask anything type events. Once again, yes, there are tools like Yammer that organisation uses, but there are many organisations with many users who can't access that. So how do you provide that type of capability, or how do you make it part of the, you know, the communications experience that you might be delivering? We're also looking at how Reach taps into those other systems, whether that be directly for its own needs or via LiveTiles Everywhere. So once again, making sure that if you've got a technical team who love living in Slack, that they don't miss out on getting access to important company news updates and notifications. We've already started work on integrating our intelligent directory. So this is rich profiles, making sure user profiles are up to date and kept up to date, and then using that so organizational charts, contact information, etc., is actually relevant, accurate, and useful. So you can expect to see that coming in the not too distant future. We'll be working on integrating Canva. If you've heard of Canva, it's an amazing Australian success story that allows non-graphic designers to create great looking imagery and all sorts of stuff. So we announced a partnership with Canva a number of months ago, and we'll be integrating that into that content authoring experience, so you can create custom imagery without being a graphic designer and have it look really fantastic based on what Canva does, and it'll all be seamlessly integrated. And the last thing we're playing around with the concept at the moment, I'm happy to demo this in a deep dive to anyone's interested, is around how can we start to enrich the content experience for users by summarizing different content sources into really succinct, readable information that maintains context and can be auto-published or go into the publishing cycle through Reach. So that's something we're working on as well that we think will be a key part to this product moving forward. And finally, LiveTiles Quantum. So this is really the smarts that will power intelligent experiences. So what it is today is this is where what was previously known as Hyperfish, our intelligent profile directory capability sits. And as I mentioned before, so many customers that we talk to fall down at the hurdle of trying to do targeted, personalized content, personalized experiences, workflow on their intranets, because they simply do not have up-to-date profile information about their people. And it's the classic case of someone starts, they get onboarded through IT processes, their Active Directory generally, user account will get it set up, but not all the information was captured or perhaps known at the time, and information is not updated because it requires going back through IT. So this is all about setting up a platform that doesn't hold the data, it brokers the data exchange. It will reach out to users and say, hey, I'm missing your mobile phone number. Or every quarter, it can reach out to everyone in your organization, just say, here's what I know about you, the important information, has anything changed? It can mash together profile data into, if you're a hybrid environment, into a single profile update step for your users. So it's a critical piece of the puzzle if you ever want to succeed at targeting information and experiences to users. Our digital assistants bots, we've been working in bots now for a long time. We have a lot of scars, black eyes, etc., as everyone who's worked with bots over the past 3-4 years has. But we do definitely see a role around bots. We have a lot of R&D and knowledge around how bots should be built, how they work, what they're good for. And so they will exist as part of the LiveTiles Quantum platform. And you can also expect to start to see some very specific bots being made available as part of that platform that might do stuff for the intranet. They might also do stuff for everywhere. You can start to see us using our own goodness to deliver specific use cases around bots as well. Our analytics capability. So we've just, earlier this year, we released the ability to have our heat mapping and page analytics for modern SharePoint pages, as well as our own LiveTiles pages, and of course, pages delivered from the Wisdom Enterprise Intranet platform. We're just about to release more detailed data set for those modern page analytics. And then the next phase of this is all about how do we go beyond that and what do we start to do around understanding, not so much, hey, am I getting visitors? What's my sessions? What's my browser? But starting to really dig deep into when do people interact and what's the context of their interaction. And we think that's going to be really important because attention is in different places. So, you know, if you agree with our proposition about your intranet or your digital workplace adopting your people rather than the reverse, which it has been traditionally, then we need to make sure that we understand where we're getting to them, whether that be reading content from LiveTiles Reach, whether that be reading policies and procedures made available from the Enterprise Intranet platform, whether that be a nicely designed marketing page in our design capability, or whether that be a bot. All of the capabilities need to be looking at how the users are interacting, when they're interacting, the context of their interaction, so we can help inform your decisions on how you deliver a better outcome. And finally, a brand new thing, which I won't go too much into because I know there's going to be some more information shared in the next session on this, but one of the things that came out of COVID for us was about how do we connect and ask people how they feel about all sorts of topics and do it in a really quick way that's not a survey. And so LiveTiles Vibe has been launched now, and we're building a bunch of stuff into this around email as a channel as well. But Vibe is all about not just asking if someone's feeling good or feeling well, but really going in, providing a capability here that you could ask anything. And the future for this is around how can that be data driven, as well as how can it get smart with what channel it reaches out to you so you can interact with it and it gets out of your way. And so that's what's to come with Quantum. That smart access to data and systems from where they do their work. That's looking at LiveTiles Vibe becoming this ubiquitous ability to touch out to users and say, hey, I need this from you, or can you confirm this? And then get on with your day. It's about expanding those analytical insights across all the experiences we deliver. We're looking at how we can make that content engine smarter through things like that summarization capability I referred to before. Something we've just announced in the market and we've got some customers looking at right now is how do we unlock the IP and knowledge trapped in all the recorded meetings I'm sure are going on in your organization. So something we call smart meetings. This is in partnership with a very close technical alliance partner of ours that just focuses on unlocking video. And so we can show you this today. I'm not sure if the team's going to demo this, but if this type of thing interests you, that ability to search across all your recorded meetings and say, when did we talk about this? And Carl was a participant, you get a real-time highlights reel of all the meetings and the clips where those things occurred. And there's a lot of potential power in that. So if that interests you, and that's the type of thing we're looking at Quantum having. And finally, a key part to Quantum moving forward will be that integration to systems and making that as easy as possible. So you can say, you know what, I'd like to have LiveTiles Vibe reach out to my users with data from Salesforce and ask them this. No, Quantum is the platform where you'll be able to pull that together. And you'll be able to then, of course, use rich profile information about your users to make sure it gets to the right people. So how will we keep you informed? Because we have a lot of capability, and I'll be the first to put up my hand and say what we haven't done well for the past 12 to 18 months is communicate effectively with you as our customers across all the regions. So what we're committing to you is if there's anything that I've talked about today that's caught your interest or you'd like to know more about, please let us know and let Paul know, and we'll set up deep dive sessions into each of their products and also particular capabilities. We'll be sharing a high-level futures roadmap. That will be a quarterly based thing that will be starting to happen. So that will really talk to the future of where we're going and some of the thinking behind it. And we'll also be sharing detailed product roadmaps for each of these 4 products. So LiveTiles Intranet, LiveTiles Everywhere, LiveTiles Reach, and LiveTiles Quantum will all have detailed product roadmaps that will be available to you as customers to deep dive into, and then of course request deeper sessions with us to get an understanding of all the things and where we're heading. And of course the other thing I'll put here is that if you are interested in being closer to the rubber, so to speak, and you're not afraid of getting involved in some early concepting and idea generation, we are all up for that. We love doing that. So if any of these things have caught your interest about some of the futures stuff, please let us know and we can chat further. And thank you very much.